Well, now really, when we go back then to falling in love and say it's crazy, falling, you see, we don't say rising into love. There is in it the idea of the fall, taking this ghastly risk, giving yourself up.
Hey, and welcome to another video. Today's video is not going to be about photography or tutorials or just a conversation, because first of all, what do you think of my new hair? Did it all by myself. It goes all the way up, but I tied the other ones up because they go in all sorts of directions, but I don't think it's too bad of a look. And especially like if I play games, then I take this one, put it under this one like this, and then this one can go behind my ear, so then they're out of my face. But still, I think it looks okay with two. But today's video was just me wanting to talk about the topic of expectations and how they can be detrimental, or basically I've learned recently or in the past few months that expectations can be the downfall of your happiness. I know we all have aspirational goals, or we all want things to be a specific way or a certain way, or look a certain way or be a certain way. That's how we can control our want for our personal drive of what we want our life to be like, what we think is perfect. And when things like that don't go to plan, even though you do have a plan, that can be very detrimental to your self-confidence and make you think that you can't actually achieve what you want to achieve in life or in the moment. You may make plans about what you want to happen, and those don't always go to plan. Those times really suck. But then I started talking to my best friend about this, and it was a good 2-3 hour vent about how all of these things that I thought were going to happen and how things would change, and they haven't changed, and I'm still waiting for past plans to come into fruition. And the fact is that they don't, and that for me personally, I'm a perfectionist. So if I plan for A to happen and then C happens when I was expecting B, that's a big problem. My biggest problem I find with me mentally is that this perfectionism means that I have A, B, C, D, E, and so on happen in that order to get the result I want. And I'm very methodical in how I want to do these things. And I strongly believe that the struggles now you will be able to reap the benefits and so on in the future. But at the same time, that is my perspective, that is my way of thinking, that's how I've always thought, and that's how I have got to where I am. I mean, I'm pretty sure my parents never thought I would get into university. I did that. I got into college by myself. They weren't there for the open days, they weren't there for the application, the filling out of all the forms. I did that all of myself. I got myself through college. And then my best friend at the time was going to uni, and I had no interest of going to uni. But because we went to separate colleges, but we were best friends in high school, I wanted to surprise him by going to the same uni as him, study the same course, so we can spend more time together. Towards the end, he just happened to drop me as a friend, and that hurt, considering I had just embarked on this long journey to prove that I wanted this. Yeah, I wanted this guy to be the best man at my wedding type of thing. And then at the end, for him to say, oh, I just used you because you were useful to me. That there was my first lesson of betrayal and things just not going to plan like how you expect them to. Another one was my first serious relationship, where at the time I was young and excited, and I didn't have I had a job at the time, so I was making money, and at the time I was careless with it, spending it left, right and center, buying completely unnecessary things. But do I regret spending the money? Both yes and no, because if I had that now, it would be very useful, but at the same time, that taught me about debt. It taught me about the dangers of credit card. It taught me the rewarding feeling to work and then buy something you want with money you earned. And it was really fun to spend it, but at the same time, that also attracted the first true love of my life. She liked the success of someone in uni that's also working and independent and everything. But then when I left that job and my source of income, that was essentially her losing the main factor that first attracted to me, that independence. Because after the money ran out, I had to start depending on my parents, and I can see why that would be unattractive. And then the pressure to be a breadwinner came out in very, very destructive ways. My anger went up, the self-control of my emotions went through the roof. And to be honest, I can understand why someone wouldn't want to be around someone that is so volatile. I wish how I am now, I could have been then, with my self-control of emotions and taking like 95% of everything I encounter with a cool, calm, collected mind. I mean, contrasting myself then to now, I am extremely level-headed. I barely get angry or raise my voice, and I just feel better now for going through all of that, to teach me that all of these things that I'm doing have consequences, and as such will lead to undesirable but predictable results. But on the other hand, I don't put all of that blame on them to myself. I think, and I may be wrong, I instigated it, but at the end of the day, cheating is cheating, and for me to be cheated on and then lied to about it, that cut me deeply, and from there, that built on trust issues of who can I get close to me? Do they have ulterior motives? Because from this last successful relationship, it was built on there's this nice guy and he's independent and he makes money, but the main thing for that was that he makes money. He can take me places, buy me things, take me to dinner. When that stopped, so did the admiration. And so I was cheated on with someone at her job who was making money, and then after breaking up, within a couple of weeks she was living with him. And I remember my friends and I went to go visit her at work one day, and even they said to me at the time, something doesn't look right here. I remember before we were even in a relationship, one of the girls she went to school with said, be careful, this girl uses people. But because I was so blinded by infatuation and affection, I was like, how dare you say that about her, and thought that was just wrong. And in fact, I made an enemy of that person in my books because I just didn't believe it at all. And then 2 years later, specifically, 1 year, 362 days. 3 days before our anniversary, just woke up one day and said, yeah, I don't love you anymore. So that gave me big trust issues. And even if we move forward to right now in Taiwan, when I moved to Taiwan for this relationship, I thought maybe I could move here and start a channel and try and make something of myself in another country, or get a job teaching English, before I realized that I had maybe 7 to 9 interviews, and I found out that there is a lot of how should we say, racial segregation, i.e. in Asia they still prefer white people over people of color for teaching, because they seem to think that, I don't know what they thought, but I remember I went to one interview. There was 2 candidates, me and another girl, and she was white, and then we had to sit in a lesson so we can see how the teachers there taught. And not only did this girl fall asleep in that class, her phone went off twice, distracting all of the 6-year-old students. And she was Russian, so English was her 3rd language. And despite me having my full education in the UK, I am highly educated with a bachelor's in graphic design and a master's in architecture, I didn't get that job, and then she did. So that was another big blow to my expectations again. And I think that while it's healthy to have expectations, I also believe that if you have expectations of what you want or what you think should happen, then and these are speculative expectations, i.e. you don't have any solid ground or evidence that it will, then I can almost guarantee you it will end up in disappointment. So, to finish off this video, I just have one statement, and that's to say, if you don't expect anything, you will be surprised by everything. And I feel like that's something I'm going to try now, and so it will lead to what I believe or what I expect will be a higher quality of life and happiness in myself and how I feel about myself internally, instead of always getting stuck in a thought loop of you should have done that, this happened because you didn't do that, you could have changed this if you weren't like that, and so on. Just the complete and utter anxiety overload of what could have happened and what should have been done. And what my best friend told me is, you cannot change what has already happened. You can, it's physically impossible. Learn from what has happened, and which I have, and that's how I've gotten to this point of this emotional control that I mentioned. And so I have grown from it, but still to this day I feel the deep regret in the actions I did and the pain I caused to those around me. But I feel like if I can continue as I am today, then I think in another 5, because all of this happened about 3 years ago. I feel like if I keep the same mindset in 3 years, I could be somewhere completely different, living a much, much happier and fulfilled life. Another thing that one of my cousins told me is the energy you give out is the energy you will receive. Back then I was always angry and always just resentful and depressed and just not a good time to be around, and that reflected in the relationship going down, all of my relationships going down. And I've noticed now that I flipped that. Like when I was in my master's, I was quiet, calm, collected, but confident, like speak when spoken to. So don't just fill the air with noise. And that attracted the friends I have now, that all are like-minded and think similarly. But I just wanted to share this because it's been a very, very hard and mentally taxing journey. And for the past few days, it's been spiraling in my mind, and I just needed a vent, an outlet, and maybe just to get your guys' opinion on what you think. The video is 15 minutes long, so I'm going to try and end it there. Sorry for not having a photography related video. It's more like a vlog or something, but I hope you could appreciate it. Like it if you did. If you didn't like it, then there's that button too. And I promise that the next one will be more upbeat. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.